Hi, I wanted to do a little new moon video. It's the new moon in Sagittarius today. I'm at this beautiful place that I like to come to ground and connect with nature. And this is distinctly a different kind of moon. I've been experiencing a lot of shifts in the subtle energy that are affirming to us that this is a different realm. Literally, the structure of how we experience life has been permanently altered. I even saw something on the news where there were these people talking about car accident, and a drunk driver had hit a 19-year-old. She was pinned into her car, and they have this equipment that they use to untangle the metals or whatever to get somebody out of a car, and time is limited, and she needed help, and their equipment wasn't working, and this man just emerged out of a cornfield, and he was dressed like a priest, and he prayed over them, and he said, "Your stuff is going to work now, and everything's going to be okay." And then he left, and they didn't realize that he left, but he disappeared. And then they had assistants come in shortly after. Everything was handled, and she was fine. But the firefighters on site were interviewed on the news, and it was we don't know how to explain that. It was like a character sketch of this man, not because he was wanted, but because he created a miracle. And I firmly believe that we're in a different experience of what is possible in the third dimension that is going to appear like miracles to a lot of people. We have effectively anchored in the level of light that is necessary for these types of things to become very commonplace. And my message at a collective level on the new moon is about embracing how a priority is always preceded by you being okay and feeling whole and full. Mental health, physical health, feeling like you can detach in the present moment and just connect to the stillness that's in your mind and use it to come before anything that you handle. That's the golden ticket to having success in the age of Aquarius. Your compass being finely attuned. You cannot hear your compass. You cannot see it clearly. It needs to be buffed off and shined off if it's too infiltrated by other frequencies that are denser. And a lot of people at this time are actually, we don't really have a choice. We're all being called up into this higher level of navigation as humans because of how we're all evolving. But if the compass face is too hazy, then the density clearing is going to be taking place in the way of feeling, remembering, experiencing uncomfortable things, painful things, karmic things, and remembering that the way through to release those things is by sitting with them and not marinating, not ruminating, but kind of just being dead on with the truth of what it is you're feeling, seeing. It's not effective, right, to be averse to the things that hurt if they don't get cleared out, if they remain suppressed. And the beauty of this kind of shift in the energy is that the people who have a clear point of attraction are gonna get very rapid manifestations of the things that they've been holding their visions for, because all of the extra circumstantial situations have been disbanded and cleared out at a radical level. And I did a pretty profound global thing. I created this big pillar of energy yesterday, and I sent it up out of Earth's atmosphere, and I wrapped it around the whole Earth. I have been doing these things in a little bit more of a concentrated manner since July, which I recently spoke on. But a lot of people all over the world are doing these light activations and protections that have completely transformed, but ushered us into, because it's been a quantum probability, right? And the internet has both helped and hurt for information to spread to the people that it needs to reach. It's like if people don't know the language that the game is running on, then they can't really play the game. So the next chapter, I think that the first quarter of 2025 is going to be giving all the players the actual rules of the game. That's a huge deal. That's a pretty huge deal. There's been very few people on Earth who know the rules of the game. And if you have the rules of the game and you're trying to play it the right way, you might appear crazy to people who don't. And so that gap, that divide is the greatest that it's ever been. But the people who have the tools to sort of continuing, I'm just obsessed with the analogy of creating bridges of light. Creating bridges of light to merge disparate parties, disparate schools of thought, coming out of this handling of duality where we're just a victim to it and we're transcending it. To transcend duality is to transcend the third dimension, to observe it, how it operates, what it means, what it does to the way that we think, the way that we literally are a walking paradox, and the things that we do and say are very paradoxical, but we realize that, like, for me, there's this sensation that all of life around me, if I'm standing in the woods and maybe there's somebody way down there walking their dog and there's this and that, there's no empty space. None of this is hollow. There's no open air. This is all energy. This is a thick soup at all times. And when I move it all. And when somebody over there moves, they move it all. That's why it's so chaotic. I've spoke on this many, many times. Like, it's just the interconnected web. But it's empowering to remember that the whole thing, right, collapses down into a nutshell of being like inside of you. And that given that, if it's all connected and it's never not going to be connected, then we can start to organize it to move, it's still, there's like this developmental stage of still trying to look outside of ourselves to control it, to make the flow of the energy, knowing that it's all connected, do something different. And I would consider it to be like part of the knowing spiritual truths, but not feeling them. Because when your brain activates into different, gamma waves, and your third eye is open, your pineal gland is active, your experiences will apply the concepts in the way that, like, you enter into the space where you're like, it does transcend words. There is no way, this is Baba Ram Dass, we're all walking each other home. There's no way to do that work for another person. But then we again realize, like, it's not about doing anything control-based for this mass that we're part of. It never was, it never will be. It's about knowing the power that you hold truly in the way that you haven't been able to express it. But there's this, it's the collective trauma enacted upon humanity that people have been averse to clear. And then the people who have already done this work or have been deeply steeped in it for much longer are the people that didn't have a choice, who got like grabbed and shoved up into it. Like, you don't have a choice but to resolve this trauma. The healing modalities that will be emerging are coming up right in tandem with our need for them. There are people all over the world right now that are having these weird experiences where they're awakening to, like, whether or not it's light language, where they're doing transmissions of ancient language, galactic language, different kinds of tones, frequencies, tone healing, vocal things. But really, it's a transmission of energy that surpasses time and space. We can post these things on the internet. We can offer what it is that's coming up within us to other people, because it's what we're called to do. And the beauty of it is that the highest possible vision that you can hold for your life, once you've stripped away the different projections that get in the way of that being fully held, the purest, possible frequency of a timeline for yourself is not going to have anything that is ego-based. It's going to be your soul-led mission, your destiny. It's not going to have any of those projections in it. And so it is simultaneously your wish fulfillment and your dream come true, and a blessing to everybody else who comes in contact with you. And you can't get it wrong, and no one else can do it the way that you can. And you also can't fully ever get the instructions from anybody else. The calling of how you enact your unique soul's template is yours to discover, and we are all watching each other do this. And when I say you can't get it wrong, I think about like, if you have a lot of karmic lessons to clear out, you do still have to just go forward and still be confident and still love yourself and not be like, well, what am I, there's no other way but to accept that you don't know what you don't know, and that you might be carrying things and baggage and layers that still need healing. We always kind of often do. And then when you get to some type of situation that challenges you or humbles you or asks you to put your pride aside, you just do that because you know that it's not a detriment to you, because it's just an aspect of how you present as a human. Your willingness to evolve and change is you. And this is just like, this is so Buddhist, right? It's like the stream is always in flow. Life is you're in a little boat. You can't choose that you're moving, but you can steer. And that steering is having the intention that you're always going to be doing your best, and you're receptive to acclimate and assimilate to what's happening and what's new. And the suffering that we're seeing and will continue to see is people not wanting to do that, because we don't know what that looks like, that letting go. A lot of people don't see that there's anything else outside of how we've come to know and live in the world. So what I'm doing, I'm going to share this. I've never said this before. I've been tending to this garden of ideas for like literally probably 16 years. I'm going to open a business. It's currently in its infancy. It's called the Healing Art Emporium, and it's going to be a gallery and a metaphysical resource lounge where people can come to use different kinds of occult books and tools and things about the Hermetic principles, the laws of the universe, science, consciousness, all the different things of my lending library that I want to be able to supply in a place where you don't purchase it and leave, but you have kind of a community space to explore. Obviously, I'm going to sell stuff like crystals, my own artwork, but the works of people who are spiritually aligned. And then eventually it'll be like an event space, because I'm also musical and I want to be able to have sort of a mecca of all of these things coming together. And so I'm going to build it online first. I've already put the first chapter of developing this has been getting myself to the point that I needed to be able to run it. It's going to be a ton of work, but as far as, becoming the person that I would like to be, and that is the right level of openness to receive my gift through channel as an artist, to be able to make the pieces that I'm supposed to make. I have my life coaching certification. I'm medical intuitive level 1 certified, and have the seeds planted throughout all of these different avenues to create coursework and different kinds of exercises for people to approach their own awakening journey. So it's a beautiful time to just free yourself from ever thinking that the way that you're approaching the next phase of your life isn't possible. Truly anything is possible. And there's no there was a time in my life when I was like, I need to keep this very quiet, because if anybody steals my idea and does it, then I won't be able to do it. And that's not true. That's not true. The reason for keeping it close to my chest is not wanting for other people to be able to energetically interact with it, because a lot of us project without knowing it, and I'm very sensitive to that. Even if I, open myself up to people who love me and are very well-meaning, if they interact with something energetically and they don't fully comprehend it, I can feel that dissonance, and it gets involved in the vibration of what I'm doing, and I don't like that. So operating in a vacuum just for that type of clarity and sanitary, hygienic, energetic situation. But the world actually needs lots of places like this. You're going to see them popping up everywhere, like communities of people that have somewhere to go where it's an energetically, and then, thinking about it beyond that, like once I actually do get a storefront, that will be a different story. Because it's going to become like an energetic, like we think about these natural sacred sites or earth chakras and ley lines and meridians. If you're a grid worker, if you're a starseed grid worker, then you know about this or you feel called to it. Like Sedona, Mount Shasta, all these different places. We will be able to, having much more access to our multidimensionality in this new chapter, we will be able to create different kinds of energy signatures, things and infrastructure that are not visible in the third dimension to secure different types of energies around certain places. And that's something that I've been experimenting with in my apartment for a very long time. My apartment is like a powerful energy vortex. But if you drive by it on the road, you would never like see that because it's not visible, but it's visible in the other realms. So there's a lot that, there's so much that's changing right now. It's just exquisite. And I wanted to offer that today by the waterfall. I hope that everybody's doing really well. Hope that everybody's able to, like this right here is a true vibe check. Where are you at? Can you breathe? Can you release any of the things that your mind has been churning out and just connect to the pure peace that is available to you? Because if you can, then throughout all time and space, you are effectively gifting that moment of peace to everywhere you've been and everywhere you're going to go. That's how we do it. The more that you can call back your presence, your attention span that the internet has taken from you, all of these things. I got into a little bit of a dicey one, not on Thanksgiving. I think it was the day after. I'll say whatever I want. I'm used to understanding that a lot of people will not probably receive things the way that they're intended, and I've backed way off in trying to get people to understand. Black sheep stuff, right? But I was saying, I believe that they have different kinds of, if you don't understand what an energetic cord is, then of course you're not going to believe this, but different kinds of technologies that are plugged into people, literally keeping people's ability to maneuver themselves, their bodies, for things to happen within their bodies energetically. All of this is operating at a level that we are completely unaware of. And everyone was like, no, absolutely not. That's not real. So I was like, okay, whatever you say. And those things, though, are not going to be limiting our creative manifestation seed point. So when you key into that stillness inside of you and you allow it to be, I'm seeing a well of gold, a really, really light color gold that's super shimmery, like a little inkwell where you'd put your feather quill. You're taking a dropper and you're going into that and you're extracting, you're drawing up and drawing out some of that potency. And you're adding it to every future moment that you're going to have, and you're allowing it to bless all the moments that you have had, because you see now, wherever you are, whoever you are, that you're exactly in the right place to be wherever you're going, as you are now. So much energetic alchemy too. Like I'm getting really ahead of myself. I'm getting blessed with a lot of different kinds of visions and situations, theoreticals, timelines, avenues, doors opening up. And it's important to remember to stay grounded, because it's a new level of letting higher dimensional energy be ever present. It's not like I tapped into it, I came back. It's a constant connection that must be anchored. That's why I'm out here. And if you're in the camp of people who's going to start to receive your blessings, if you've been doing, especially if you're a cardinal sign, if you've been doing the labor of your karma clearing for the last 16 years and you're in a space where you're going to be turning a page and experiencing a lot of momentum and velocity, remember to stay grounded. It's very important to stay grounded. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's it. Get outside. Look at the sun. Take deep breaths. Happy Thanksgiving.